And the reason you want to have this stuff is that the human system is adaptable. So we have a familiar zone that we function in. And in order to grow, we need to get uncomfortable. And what that means is we need to get out of that zone of familiarity. This is stress. This is good stress. It's when we exercise, we get into a zone that's unfamiliar to us. The body has to adapt, and this is epigenetics. This is where gene expression actually changes to adapt, because our genetics, our DNA is the most fascinating stuff. What it does is it's constantly assessing environment and our function in that environment, and it's saying, are we ideally set to live in this environment? And when you give it an unfamiliar environment, it has to change. It's like when you lose 20 pounds from doing diet and exercise, going from being sedentary. So in 3 months, you lose 20 pounds. 3 months later, you're doing the same thing and you haven't lost any weight. Well, what's happened? What happened is that familiar zone moved. After you give enough stress time getting out of the familiar zone, the body adapts. The gene expression changes. The familiar zone moves up. And suddenly you have to be doing more. Now, this is what I loved about the Garmin watch is it has this thing called training load in it. So it actually pushes me because it changes my familiar zone. This zone kept going up. I was training for a Spartan race, and the familiar zone kept changing on me. So I had to work harder every week or so to get into a zone of growth. But it gave me that kind of feedback, which I loved. This is the algorithm it uses for stress.